City Skylines, the board game, is so much fun. I don't know about you, but I grew up playing SimCity on PC and absolutely loved it. And this takes all the things that are fun about that game and brings it to the table. City Skylines is a video game that has replaced SimCity now. I haven't played that, but I've heard it's very popular and very good. And ultimately what City Skylines, the board game, does, it brings all the good things from the video game and ports it to the board. The game is cooperative and it works best, I would say, in a 2 or a 3, but does play up to 4. Works very well in a solo as well. I've enjoyed most of the games in a 2 and I found that worked brilliantly. Ultimately in the game what you're doing is trying to slowly build up your city to create a happy city. You get points from happiness. All the ways in which you can make the people in your city more happy, though, are often foiled by certain things that will make them less happy. There are multiple factors that will affect your power, water and garbage output, all of which at the end of each milestone will affect how happy your citizens are. Constantly throughout the game, you'll be affecting your pollution, traffic and crime, which again will affect your citizens' happiness at the end of the game. There are multiple scenarios in the game that set out different ways in which you can set up and play the game. Essentially lots of little expansions that you can further increase your awareness of the rules as you play along. The first of these scenarios will bring in unique buildings, certain constructions that will bring different elements to your city, such as a sports stadium that will increase the happiness for all of the citizens in that district, also increase the happiness of all the citizens in other districts whilst increasing traffic as those citizens have to travel to get into that stadium. Scenario 2 introduces roll cards, a really cool way to bring special abilities into the game to help you as you play along. Scenario 3 introduces the policy cards, certain things that you can do as town planner to introduce rules to spend money to reduce certain things. Scenario 4 introduces the news cards, bulletins from city news that will introduce certain factors that will either increase or reduce certain elements of your game. Whereas Scenario 5 offers unlimited replayability with multiple setups of the board and multiple setups of how much money that you start the game with. City Skylines is a constant battle between yin and yang. Can I add this building to increase my power consumption, but it also increases my traffic? Perhaps you want to play a residential zone card that will reduce your electricity consumption and up your traffic as more residents move into your city, but will increase your employment bar by 3 as long as you're building the residential zone in a district that already has a medical centre. However, perhaps you haven't built that medical centre yet and another player wants to play a blue commercial zone that will reduce your employment but up your traffic but get you 4 money if that medical centre is there. Both players may then be waiting to get that medical centre, which would waste valuable time. You need to use the cards that you have in your hand effectively in a cascading way so that you can maximise your points, always chasing happiness whilst trying to keep all of the other bars as close to 0 as possible. There are multiple card types from construction cards, service buildings, utility buildings to the residential, commercial and industrial zones. This fire station, for example, will cost you 5 money to build but will increase your happiness by 2, and other cards would need to utilise the fire station in order to maximise that card's effects. This bus depot will cost 3 money but will reduce your traffic by 3 as your residents start using the bus rather than their own vehicles. Playing City Skylines is like a constant battle between trying to get one thing up whilst not bringing something else down by too much. The first game we played was so tough. The scenario in the book is self-professed by the designer of this game to be one of the hardest. You only start with 3 boards, which you think might make the game easier, but it just gives you a lot less land to build on. You run out of space quite quickly and we ended up having to end the game because we had no more space to build on. We then quickly played the second game because we really had the bug, we were really enjoying it, but we equally didn't do as very well, despite the fact having now more land to build on. We ended up the game with 1 point. 1 point on the back of the board tells you that you have not done very well. On our third game, when we started utilising the scenarios where you have 4 boards to start with, you realise how this extra space really creates freedom to give you a chance to maximise your points a lot more easily. On our third game, we scored 42 points, and then on our fourth game, we scored 51 points. Moving from a failed game on our first game to 1 point on our second game, to then 40s and 50s in our third and fourth, really gave us the bug to play on. I absolutely love City Skylines and I can see myself wanting to play this game for a very long period of time. I think the satisfaction of this game comes from planning out your cards amongst not just yourself, but the other planners who are playing the game, so that you are laying them in the right order so that the cascading effects of each card can be utilised to its fullest. Putting something down, which means another player can then maximize their card, is very satisfying, especially if it means when it comes back to you, you can then play a different card, which you can now gain money or success or happiness from. This game is a bit of a thinky puzzle at first, but after 1 or 2 games, it will become quite intuitive as to what all the symbols mean and what it is that you need to do in order to maximize the cards that you have. There is an element of luck in terms of what order the cards come to you, but I think as you understand the game a little bit more, there is also a function where you can replace the cards that you have in your hand with other ones from the deck. But as you understand the deck a bit more and as you understand the board a bit more, you will start learning where you want to place things and how you want to place things, and most importantly, in what order you want to place things to maximize your points. City Skylines scratches a lot of itches. You've got the tile placement with the polyomino effect. There is the card building and set collection with what you're trying to do in your hand. There is obviously the multiple scoring opportunities and the cascading effects there. The whole game brings so much to the table and is a really enjoyable experience. Most games I find last about 35 to 45 minutes, depending on how au fait you are with the game, but it really depends on you how much time you want to think about each move. There isn't really ever too much element of analysis paralysis here, though. You only will ever have 5 cards in your hand, and your choices are only really to play a card or swap a card. The only other thing you can do on your turn is end in a milestone. This is when a player will then decide to flip one of the other land tiles over. You spend the money that it costs to do that. And at this point, this is when you need to take into account what your score on power, water and garbage is. For every marker in the red, you will lose 1 of your happiness. This is how you actually score in the game, because after you've removed anything negative from power, water and garbage, you then add any positive happiness to your overall score for the game. Overall, I have to say I absolutely love this game. I've really enjoyed playing it, and talking about it now just makes me want to play it another time. I think that, if anything, is the best way to judge a game. Do you want to play it again? Does talking about it make you want to play it again? I would recommend this game to anybody who enjoys tile laying or puzzly games, or for me, people who enjoy that cascading scoring opportunities by layering cards together in a clever way that maximizes your way to score points within the game. City Skylines is such a fun board game. I would highly recommend it. Thank you so much.